The shocking biblical truth, what Iran versus Israel reveals about black people exposed at midnight. The clock struck 12, thick darkness cloaked the world, and the air crackled with tension. This wasn't just another run-of-the-mill debate. No, whispers of something far more sinister spun through the night like shadows slipping between cracks in an old, creaking door. Somewhere beneath the chaos, a hidden reality clung like a spider's web, sticky and suffocating. What was it that the powerful feared so deeply? Curiosity gnawed at the edges of a truth long concealed, a truth involving ancient prophecies and the unseen bonds tying people together across borders. In dimly lit alleys of Jerusalem, rumors of a powerful text were exchanged under hushed breaths, claiming that secrets about the black diaspora were woven into the fabric of Iran and Israel's turbulent history. A history shrouded in whispers of conflict, each battle cry echoing biblical references, yet veiled from the masses. The air hung heavy with a chilling realization: were these ancient ties more than mere coincidence? Nights turned into small gatherings of anxious minds, each soul wrestling with the uncertainty of their defining narratives. The unexpected connection sent electric jolts of awareness through the community. Eyes widened in disbelief as they unearthed stories of unexpected alliances, shared struggles through time. Was that a flicker of understanding igniting their fire? Or just a facade masking something darker simmering beneath? Each question tightened throats, pulled tight like strings on an instrument hummed into life. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. With the clock still ticking, the tension escalated. The sound of excitement became a low murmur. A stranger surfaced, cloaked in shadows, eyes glinting with secrets. This person held a piece of paper, yellowed with age, as precious as the secrets it contained. The moment hung in air like an unfinished note, vibrating with potential. What does it really say? The question lingered, burning in the minds of all who watched. Uneasy breaths filled the space, yearning for the truth to spill forth like water from a cracked dam, breaking free from the once dormant well of knowledge held captive. Could this unraveling truth alter their lives forever? Or was it simply the glint of a fading star, another distraction amid the real battles looming ahead? As the shadows danced, leaving awe in their wake, they stood on the precipice of revelation. What lay on the other side, waiting for them in the embrace of the night? The crowd inhaled sharply as the stranger stepped forward, the dim light catching the edges of the ancient paper. Their hearts raced. The air became electric with anticipation. This was the moment they had all been waiting for. Could this obscure fragment finally shed light on the enigma binding their histories? What does it say? A voice called out, fragile but insistent. It cut through the tension like a blade. The shadows swirled around, intensifying the moment as the stranger unfolded the brittle sheet with care, revealing cryptic symbols and faded ink that told stories long buried. As they leaned in closer, their breaths mingled, a collective gasp when the first few words rolled off the stranger's tongue, echoing through the alley. The prophecy speaks of a people divided, yet united through trials and tribulations, each phrase built upon the last, stirring a deep sense of urgency in the listeners. Murmurs surged through the crowd, mingling confusion and wonder. United? Someone echoed incredulously. How can that be? We are miles apart, bound by nothing but conflict. The stranger's gaze pierced the gathering, a fire igniting within. That is just it. You are bound by more than you can see. The paper trembled slightly, revealing more lines that spoke of shared paths forged in adversity, intertwined routes leading to the same destination. Visions of struggle emerged before their eyes, battles fought, sacrifices made, and whispers of survival that echoed across landscapes. Faces morphed into one another, filled with pain, resilience, longing for recognition. As words flowed, the crowd's expressions flickered from skepticism to revelation, memories igniting within them. Flashbacks to stories passed from generation to generation filled the atmosphere like smoke. Rich histories flared up, desperately trying to reclaim their identity. But then, the stranger paused, an unsettling silence draping over them. But there's more. The weight of those words hung heavy in the air, a dark storm brewing just out of sight. There's a reason these truths have been hidden. And it's not just about battles, it's about the souls beyond. A chilling tremor whispered through the crowd as uncertainty clawed at them. What could this mean? Could the ancient ties be a cautionary tale, or a prophecy yet to unfold? Discomfort rumbled beneath the surface, sending shivers down their spines. Why are we only hearing this now? Another voice quavered, sending ripples of doubt through the assembly. Anxiety vibrated in the air like an ominous hum. Every eye fixed on the stranger, every heart waited with bated breath. What if the truth can lay bare the intentions of those in power? The stranger continued, their voice rising above the apprehension. What if the darkness concealing these secrets is meant to keep you apart, to prevent you from understanding that you have always been on the same side? Chatter erupted, fierce debates ignited, and emotions flared. The atmosphere crackled with fear and hope as the ramifications settled in. Will they find a way to unite, or will the veil of fear overshadow the truth? The shadows danced with unanswered questions, lingering in the crowd's mind, and just then, a sudden noise broke the whispering footsteps approaching rapidly from the alley's entrance. A violent shudder rippled through them as they turned, fear gripping their chests. Who was coming? Were more secrets about to be unveiled, or were they in even greater danger? With hearts pounding, they braced for what was to come, what truth awaited them just beyond the threshold. The tension escalated as shadows loomed in the flickering light. Figures edged closer, silhouettes with sharp edges, each step crackling through the air like thunder in a storm. Everyone froze, eyes wide, breaths trapped in their throats. Had they unwittingly summoned this impending confrontation by seeking the truth? The stranger clutched the paper tightly, knuckles white, contrasting the ebbing flicker of hope that moments ago had surged through the crowd. Stay back! They shouted, voice quaking yet defiant. A head emerged first from the darkness, unmistakably familiar, a figure many had thought long lost to the fray. We can't hide anymore. We need to know. It was a woman, her face illuminated briefly by a street lamp, revealing the lines of relentless struggle and fierce determination. What do you mean? A man in the crowd shouted. What don't we know? The woman stepped forward, her expression etched in urgency. You have to understand. The prophecy, it speaks more than just about unity. There's a danger that has been lurking, unseen. It binds us, yes, but it also threatens everything. Panic rippled through the gathering like a wildfire. Danger? Someone whispered, eyes darting. What kind of danger? The strangers ambled closer, their presence overwhelming as they merged into a looming mass, cloaks billowing. The air thickened with electricity, taunting them with every looming moment. Another hooded figure shuffled to the front, voice low and gravelly. You're not prepared for what has already been set in motion. The crowd shuddered. Whispers grew louder, entangled with fear and speculation. What do you mean? Set in motion? Their refrain bounced back, but no answers followed. Only tension hummed through the thrumming crowd. With the stranger's voice rising in defiance, this is our moment. If we can understand our shared power, even in darkness, we can confront whatever threat lies ahead. But doubt gnawed at them. Shared power? A trembling voice queried. What if we fail? What if we're truly united? The woman interjected, her voice piercing through the unsteady murmurs. What if it takes facing this danger to uncover the truth? A spark ignited in a young man's eyes. Then we face it together. If we battled through all this pain, what has one more struggle? Foolishness! Was barked from the back, an older man stepping forward, cheeks twitching with fear. You think this is a game? There are those who don't want us to know. My family suffered because of their lies. Another cry echoed, pulling the crowd back to a sense of urgency. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from the alley beyond, cutting through the noise. The air around them rang with apprehension, and the ground seemed to quake beneath their feet. The shadows shifted again, almost alive, and a menacing laugh broke free from the depths of the alley. "Fools!" echoed the voice, rich with mockery. "You think strength lies in numbers? You are sheep, and I hold the truth glimmering like a blade in the dark. Care for a dance with destiny?" Panic erupted, some stepping back, shuffling towards safety while others stood firm, ready to face whatever emerged. The stranger grasped the paper again, holding it high. "This is our call. Stand with me if you choose light over darkness." With hearts pounding and stakes higher than ever, the crowd decided. Would they rise to the battle, standing united against the threat in the shadows, or would fear shatter their resolve? As every eye turned toward the shadows, none could predict the truth that lurked there, waiting. Just then, a murmur spread like wildfire. "Do you think they know what's coming for them?" The crowd was shaken to its core. Now they had a choice. Would they unite against the shadow, knowing full well the danger that lay ahead? And who would emerge once the truth twisted through the night? A piercing scream echoed through the alley, shattering the ponderous silence that had settled over the crowd. They flinched as shadows surged forward, becoming tangible threats that swept through the night like a cyclone. "Run!" someone cried out, panic spreading rapidly. Bodies jostled, faces contorted with fear as people scrambled in every direction, desperate for safety, desperate to escape the horror looming before them. But not everyone moved. The woman, guided by resolve, held her ground, staring into the darkness that writhed and breathed like a beast. "Stay together. We can't let fear dictate our fate." Her voice rose defiantly, cutting through the chaos, yet the shadows crept closer, a tide of malevolence. From the midst of it all, the hooded figures began advancing, their cloak billowing like storm clouds ready to consume the helpless. One stepped forward, revealing a face obscured in a sinister smile. "You crave answers? Then embrace the suffering, for the truth bears a heavy price," he spat, voice thick with condescension. The crowd teetered on the edge of outright panic. Breaths were shallow, hearts raced. Each person grappled with the internal battle, to flee or to fight? The air crackled with tension thick enough to choke on. A tall figure surged forth, eyes blazing with determination. "We will not cower! Not again!" The young man who had spoken before clenched his fists tight, channeling the fear into a steely resolve. "You think we're sheep? We're lions, ready to roar!" Those words ignited a flicker of courage. A few more stepped forward, the energy shifting as they formed a crude line of defense. There was strength in numbers, albeit wavering. "Together!" they echoed, a collective chant wavering with uncertainty yet vibrating with newfound bravery. But what loomed on the horizon was still violent and ugly. The figures moved in unison, a chilling choreography of intent that promised devastation. Their laughter rang out more forcefully, the sound scraping against the fraying nerves of the crowd. "Destiny? You're merely pawns on a chessboard, every move controlled." "Shut up!" the young woman shouted, her spirit ignited, her heart pounding with defiance. "We decide our fate. We are not controlled by you." Just as she spoke, the shadows enveloped them completely, plunging everything into a thick darkness that swallowed sound and light alike. A girl's terrified whimper echoed through the void. For some, it felt like suffocation. For others, a new chapter waiting to unfold. In that murky gloom, the cries rose and fell, creating a haunting melody of despair. The tension was unrelenting, eyes strained against shadows, ears pricked for any sign of movement, the whispers of vulnerability tangled with threads of tenacity. "Listen!" the woman cried, the boldness spilling from her lips once more. "In the dark, we must unite. The strength we seek lies within each of us. We must rally!" Her words sparked a flicker, a beacon of thought amid the oppressive despair. Encouragement bloomed between them, as hands reached out to link together. Fumbles turned into grips, grips turned into a united force. They stood firm, the cold recesses of fear slowly melting away, courage attempting to break through the suffocating darkness. But just then, a sudden silence enveloped them, heavy and laden with foreboding. The shadows paused, and the only sound was the palpable beating of their hearts, in sync with their rising hope. What would happen when the darkness responded? Then, unexpectedly, the air shifted, and a figure materialized within the dark, arms wide with a resonance that could crack the night open. "Welcome to the end of your ignorance." The crowd froze. Their hearts raced, caught in a dance between dread and awakening. Who was this figure? And what truth would shatter their world as they knew it? The night held its breath, the urgent question lingering: would they break free from the chains of deception, or would they succumb to the very shadows they so desperately sought to confront? The shadows quivered, the air thick with uncertainty. The figure stood there, cloaked in darkness yet glowing with an unnatural illumination that drew the crowd's gaze, an unsettling mix of fear and intrigue. "You're searching for truth?" The figure spoke again, voice a rasp that cut through the lingering silence. "Then prepare yourselves. Ignorance is bliss, but bliss can be deadly." "What do you mean?" yelled the young man, indignant, fists still clenched, trying to rally his comrades. "You think we're just going to accept whatever you say?" A slow, sinister chuckle rose from the figure, echoing strangely in the darkness. "Acceptance? No. I offer a revelation, a necessary awakening." The figure's hands raised slowly, as if gathering the shadows, and the air crackled with a strange energy. The crowd flinched as a sudden gust whipped through the alley, the chill biting at their skin. Faces shifted, uncertainty reflecting in terrified eyes. The figure began to move, gliding forward, each step calculated, deliberate. The shadows seemed to ripple with it, as if they were extensions of its will. "Your world is built on lies," the figure continued, voice gaining momentum, twisting their fearful curiosity. "What you don't know could damn you. Are you brave enough to learn?" The woman was not afraid. She stepped forward, her voice steady. "We've faced enough darkness already. Whatever you have to say, we'll listen. But we'll face it together." A flicker of surprise crossed the figure's face before dissolving back into its mask of authority. "Ah, at least one among you has the heart to challenge the shadows," it mused. "Very well, truth cannot cower before the brave." Without warning, the ground beneath them trembled, shifting like the earth itself was alive. The shadows roared to life, swirling violently around the crowd, making it hard to breathe. Gasps filled the air, dread mounting in their throats. "Look beyond!" the figure shouted, and just as the words left its mouth, images flooded the darkness. Faces emerged, distorted but familiar, friends, family, reflections of themselves wrapped in chains forged from lies. The visions spun wildly, flashing their past, their pain, and their fear. "See?" the figure taunted, voice echoing through the nightmare of memories. "These are the consequences of ignorance. Your struggles are not yours alone. History has buried you under the weight of deception." The crowd shrank back, emotions washing over them like a torrential storm. Some staggered, clutching their heads, others stared wide-eyed at the phenomenon unfolding. The young man stumbled but caught himself, determination igniting again in his chest. "Stop! We refuse to be puppets. We can change the story." At that declaration, the images flickered, hesitant, but the shadows remained a relentless force, pushing deeper, confounding their thoughts, sowing doubt within their hearts. The figure began to laugh, a low, echoing sound that sent chills racing down their spines. "You might wish you chose to remain blind, but even as despair seeped through them, hope flickered on the edges of their minds." The woman steadied herself against the storm of memories crashing down, heart thundering. "We can rewrite our fate!" she shouted, a fire burning in her eyes. "Together, unafraid." "Together," the young man echoed, grasping hands beside him, the crowd slowly regaining its footing, their collective heartbeats harmonizing, a rhythm of defiance rising against the foreboding shadows. The figure paused, assessing the group with narrowed eyes. "Interesting, maybe there is some strength among you yet. But know this truth demands sacrifice. Are you prepared to pay the price?" With breath held, they waited for what came next. Would they dare embrace the truth, no matter the cost? The darkness thickened once more, pressing in like the weight of their unresolved fears. The flickering question loomed as they stood poised on the precipice of revelation. What sacrifice awaited them in their quest for freedom? And would it tear them apart or unlock their true power? The ground vibrated beneath their feet, a menacing heartbeat echoing the dread rising in the crowd. Sacrifice? One voice trembled, cutting through the thick tension. What does that even mean? The figure swirled closer, its shadowy cloak brushing against anxious arms as if it were drinking in their fear. It means everything, it hissed, breathless with excited malice. You must confront your deepest fears. Only then will the truth reveal itself. A chill shot through the woman. She took a step back but steadied herself, arms grounding her resolve. You can't threaten us into submission. We want to play your game. The game is already in play, the figure sneered, and the crowd gasped again as it swept its arms wide, summoning the swirling shadows around them. You are unwitting players in a far greater scheme than your humble minds can comprehend. Suddenly, a deafening crack echoed in the alley, and the ground split open, fissures creeping toward them like dark tendrils. Gasps turned to screams. People staggered backward, fear gripping their throats. Stay together, the young man shouted, panic igniting into rallying resolve. He reached out, grabbing hold of the woman's hand. Others followed suit, forming a united front against the encroaching abyss. But the figure laughed. Unity cannot save you, my dear children. Only the willingness to sacrifice can lift the veil. As if on cue, the air shimmered, revealing moments from their lives' joyful laughter, bitter betrayals, and heart-wrenching losses. Burdens weighed heavily on individuals, memories clawing at their resolve. The woman closed her eyes, breath caught in her throat as she forced herself to confront these shadows of her past. The face of a dear friend flashed before her, broken and scared, lost in the depths of despair. Was this the price? Was she prepared to lose everything? Face it, the figure urged, its visage morphing with the swirling smoke, eyes boring into hers. This is your truth. Are you willing to bear the weight to rise above? Enough! She screamed, breaking through the haze. Fear does not define me. I choose to fight, to break free. Her words struck like lightning, echoing through the chaos. She turned to the young man, feeling his resurgence of spirit. We can be stronger than the shadows. We can take back what's ours. Together, he bellowed, igniting their collective strength. In that split second, determination ignited an incandescent light in their grip, illuminating the darkness. Shadows shrieked, recoiling from the fierce glow that radiated from their united stand, their collective fear morphing into a force of will. The figure's laughter twisted into rage as it staggered back. You think you're free? The truth is never so simple. Your sacrifice is on the horizon. What horizon? The woman cried. Show us then. The figure hesitated, its shadowy facade flickering like a failing flame. But just as it looked about to release shattered truths, the ground lurched violently beneath them. A thunderous roar echoed as the darkness split wide open, and a blinding light erupted from the chasm, sucking everything into a whirlpool of chaos. Fight it! The young man yelled, his voice tight, determination lining his features. But a sudden pull gripped her, shifting her balance. The cries of the crowd melded into a cacophony of fear and desperation, their hands slipping as darkness tangled around their feet, dragging them downward. Do you dare plunge into the depths? The figure howled, shadows swirling with an insatiable hunger. As inevitable shadows encroached, they felt the solemn weight of what lay ahead. Reality remained stretched taut, the moment suspended, a precipice between light and utter desperation. And before the void swallowed them whole, she heard a whisper, what if you're not ready for the truth you seek? Her heart raced. Was this where they would find redemption, or were they merely stumbling further into darkness? The light flickered one last time before bursting into nothingness. What awaited them in that obscured abyss? Would they find the truth, or be lost forever in shadows they couldn't escape? The world spun in a chaotic swirl as they were pulled deeper into the void. For an instant, all she could feel was cold and icy grip that reached every corner of her being. The solid ground vanished beneath her feet, leaving her in a dizzying limbo where screams echoed without source, a haunting chorus trapped in anguish. Then, the light re-emerged, but it was no longer fierce. It flickered like a candle in the wind, timid against the dark encroachments. She landed hard on her knees, the impact knocking the breath from her lungs. The surreal surroundings were disorienting, a strange landscape carved from shadows and whispers. "Where are we?" she muttered, panic creeping back in like icy fog. A dense mist curled around her, suppressing any clarity. "Stay close," the young man urged, his voice strained with focus. He gripped her hand tightly, pulling her to stand, anchoring her against the encroaching unknown. Gathering her senses, she scanned their surroundings. All around them, figures materialized from the mist, ghostly forms of people they had once known, faces twisted in torment. They were the ghosts of their pasts, witnesses to the choices they made. Each figure carried the weight of memories, and their hollow eyes seemed to judge her. "You said we could take back what's ours," she shouted, desperation creeping into her tone. "What do they want from us?" "I don't know." The young man's voice faltered, uncertainty creeping in with the shadows. "But we need to stay united. We can't let them pull us apart." Suddenly, a guttural growl emerged from the darkness ahead. A massive shape swirled into view, its grotesque form looming larger than life. Its eyes glowed an unsettling red, filled with a malice that chilled her to the core. "You think it's simple?" It sneered, voice dripping with contempt. "You think you can justify the fate that binds you here? Let us go!" she shouted, her voice steady despite her pounding heart. The creature circled them, its voice echoing with every step. "You are bound by your choices, your regrets. To escape this place, you must confront what you've fled. Your sacrifices, your truths, the fears you've buried deep." "No!" she cried, overwhelmed by the rising tide of dread. "Face it!" the creature hissed, its breath rancid in the thick air. "You cannot hide. We feed on your fears. Allow them to rise, accept your truth." The shadows around them writhed, shifting into images of regret, despair, and betrayal. She saw it all, the moments when she had chosen silence over truth, when she had turned her back on those who needed her. It felt like being stabbed, each memory a knife twisting in her gut. "Don't let it get to you!" the young man shouted, rallying her focus. "We're stronger than those memories." But the weight of her past threatened to swallow her whole. Rage spiraled within her. "You don't know me!" she screamed at the looming shadow. "Yes, but I know your fears," it retorted, a smirk curling its shadowy lips. "Then show me!" she spat back, emboldened by defiance. As the creature lunged, darkness surged from its jaws, pouring forth like a tidal wave. She braced herself, clutching the young man's hand tighter. Together, they stepped forward. Would they shatter the chains binding them, or succumb to the darkness threatening to consume their souls? In that moment, she felt something new flicker inside, a flicker of hope. Could they illuminate the darkness, or was this journey spiraling deeper into despair? Then, as if sensing their renewed determination, the creature paused, its form flickering in response. "The truth you seek is dangerous," it warned. "You may not like what you find. What lay ahead? A revelation that could free them, or a nightmare that would haunt them forevermore?" The abyss loomed ever closer, and it felt as if they were about to fall once more. "Will you dare to uncover the hidden truths?" the shadows whispered, teasing the edge of their destiny. The darkness exploded around them as the creature lunged forward, jaws wide, and a cold dread flooded her veins. She could feel the pulse of her heartbeat thunder in her ears, drowning out the whispers of the shadowy figures. Her instincts screamed at her to flee, but she stood frozen, unsure if fight or flight would save them. Suddenly, the young man pulled her closer, determination etched across his face. "Don't relive the past," he shouted, as the shadows closed in. "Remember, we're just two souls trying to break free." The creature's growl reverberated like thunder as it stopped, hovering just out of reach. "You think your connection is a strength?" it hissed. "I'll show you how fragile your bond is." What erupted next was a whirlwind of memories and fears, spiraling around them like a vicious storm. She felt the sharp pain of lost friendships, the betrayal, the tears, the silent nights spent wishing for redemption. Each moment pierced her heart, sending her reeling back into the depths of despair. She gasped as one memory bubbled to the surface. The night she had turned away from her best friend in need, instead of offering her the help she'd promised. Face it, the creature taunted, swirling its massive form around them. Face what holds you here. You are haunted by your own shadows. No! She screamed back, shaking her head and digging her nails into the young man's palm. We're stronger than this. Yet doubt crept in, biting at her resolve. How could they stand against their past? All the words left unspoken, the actions left undone, were they truly anything but prisoners of their own making? Think of what you can change, the young man urged, his voice breaking through the chaos. We're here. Now. We decide our own fate. The creature snarled, a burst of black mist surrounding them, causing the air to grow thick and almost suffocating. You think you can rewrite your stories? Its voice was a low growl, mocking her every thought. The truth is not a canvas for you to paint over. In that moment, something inside her ignited an ember of defiance. We may be bound by our choices, she replied, her voice steady and low, but we can choose to rise above them, too. And as the shadows quivered around them, she let herself feel everything at once: the joy of laughter shared, the warmth of love given, the strength found in forgiveness. Suddenly, the creature faltered, its form wavering like a candle in the wind. The confidence of their united front pressed against the creature's darkness, and she seized the moment. We break the cycle. We choose to move forward. With those words, a burst of light flared around them. It pierced through the shadows, shattering the suffocating darkness that surrounded their memories. Faces once twisted in agony began to shift, softening, and for an instant she caught a glimpse of hope shining through the fog. But just as hope flickered bright, the creature reared back, its snarling face twisted in rage. They will come for you. Your past cannot be so easily erased. As it roared, the ground quaked beneath them, and tendrils of darkness lashed out at her, seeking to pull her back into the abyss. You don't understand, she cried as she felt the riptide of fear rush in. Fight it! The young man shouted, his grip unyielding, pressing her onward. We break free together. And as they pushed against the dark forces, the light grew stronger, the creature's silhouette shifting, struggling to maintain its form. The air hummed with energy, and she knew they were at a pivotal moment. What secrets still lay buried in the shadows? Could they truly carry the weight of their pasts into the light? And would the creature relent, or was this just the beginning of an even darker challenge ahead? With trembling hearts, they took a breath, ready to face whatever truth awaited them just beyond the veil. The light surged, a brilliant explosion brightening their surroundings, illuminating the shadows threatening to swallow them whole. The creature writhed, its eyes glinting with malice, as it struggled against the piercing brilliance. Gritting her teeth, she felt an electric pulse coursing through her veins, empowering her with renewed strength. Keep pushing! The young man shouted, his voice unwavering, even as the surrounding darkness attempted to steal his resolve. We won't be prisoners anymore. But dread loomed heavier than before. Just as they gained momentum, the creature let out a bone-chilling shriek that sent shockwaves through her body. It filled the air with a suffocating darkness, claws raking at the light and throwing them into shadow. Instinctively, she clutched the young man's arm as the ground beneath them buckled. Panic clawed at her throat. What if we can't do this? She whispered, doubt choking her words. Remember, we have each other. His grip tightened, and determination burned in his eyes. That's what makes us strong. With that, they locked eyes, and she felt the warmth of his spirit intertwining with hers. It was like a lifeline amidst the storm. They pressed forward together, and once again, the light ignited, pushing back against the creature's howl. But the creature was relentless. You think unity will save you? It spat, lashing out with its shadowy tendrils, each strike aimed to carve into their hearts. Your bond is a mere illusion. The truth is far harsher. Let us find out then, she bellowed, her courage swallowing the creature's jeers. They surged forward, shielded by their resolve. The light pulsed like a heartbeat, and with each thud, their fear dissipated, unraveling the creature's grip on them. Let us face the horrors, the young man encouraged, and together, they waded through the darkness toward the shrieking void. With every step, memories of laughter, of love, of moments that had once ebbed away in regret surged through her, a surge of power, a wave of possibility. She would not be defined by her past, she would define her future. Suddenly, the creature shimmered like a mirage, flickering and distorting. You may think yourselves beyond reach, but you are still bound by your grief. It screeched, twisting its body in an unfathomable manner, showcasing the many shapes of loss. Old faces appeared, ghostly and tormented, manifesting from the dark like bitter echoes. "This isn't real," she cried, shaking her head. "They're not here to drag us down, they're reminders to lift us up." And with those words, something shifted. The faces of her past edged closer, softening from judgment into understanding. She could see the flicker of forgiveness glinting in their expressions. "See?" she urged. "We're not alone. We carry the echoes of our past, yes, but also the lessons learned." The light engulfed them again, expanding outward, pushing the shadows back ferociously as the creature grew desperate, its form twisting violently. "You will regret this." It spat, but even as it roared, its power waned. But as the darkness receded, she felt an unsettling chill grip the air. The shadows behind her flickered like a dying flame, but the echoes of past sorrows remained. What if, despite their triumph over this beast, they still faced the deeper shadows awaiting them? "Is this truly over?" she murmured. "Are we free?" Holding his gaze, the young man's brow furrowed as uncertainty crossed his face. "I don't know, but we can't stop now. There's more ahead." As they stumbled further into the fading light, the ground beneath them trembled once more. In its depths, something stirred ominously, a harbinger of deeper shadows and unspoken truths. What awaited them now? Could the darkness rally once more, revealing even greater horrors they had yet to face? The ground quaked beneath them, a low growl emanating from the shadows that seemed to pulse with sentient menace. She tightened her grip on the young man's arm, the memories of their past torment flickering in her mind like shifting sands. "We've faced the darkness. We can't give up now." He nodded, determination etched across his features, but doubt flickered beneath the surface. "What if it's stronger than us?" As if taunting them, a heavy silence enveloped the space. Suddenly, a blinding flash cut through the gloom, illuminating the shadows and exposing figures lurking just beyond the reach of light. "Face what you've overcome," a voice boomed from the depths, "ruler of the dark. Only then will you see your path." The specters materialized closer, echoes of their past selves gazing back at them, their fears manifesting: regret, isolation, pain. Each twisted face was a reminder of choices long ago made, now resurrected to haunt them. With feet planted firmly, she steeled herself. "We won't be held captive by shadows that don't define us. We choose to rise." In the faces around her, something began to shift. One by one, the phantoms moved closer, appearing less hostile, more like whispers of encouragement. "Remember us. We are part of your journey, not your cage." She glimpsed understanding flash through the crowd as others echoed her sentiment. "You're here to lift us." From the depths of despair came a wave of warmth, their shared experiences forming a tapestry of resilience, entwined with purpose rather than fear. "Together!" the young man shouted, summoning the power within each heart. And with that united shout came a surge of energy, one that pulsed like an anthem in the air. The darkness shrank back in retreat, no longer an immovable wall but an ebbing tide. "We are not defined by our pain," she cried, feeling warmth spiral around them. The menacing growl faded into uncertainty as the creature before them faltered, distortions of anger mixing with disbelief. "You think you can break free?" "Yes," she exclaimed, an explosion of conviction filling her chest. "We choose our own story. We break the cycle." With each courageous step forward, the shadows trembled, the voices of the past coalescing into something powerful, a harmony only they could create, unbreakable bonds formed by shared struggles, not bitter divides. They were rewriting their narrative, weaving a new chapter of strength from the tapestry of their histories. The figure writhed, shadows trailing like smoke from a dying fire. "You will pay for this defiance. The truth cannot be silenced." It screamed, anger lacing its words, but there was a crack in its facade, a shimmer of vulnerability as they pressed forward. Then came an echoing chorus of hope. One by one, the crowd's voices fused, drowning the creature in a symphony of strength as memories of joy, laughter, and friendships filled the air. We are not mere shadows. We are the light. The resonance surged, brilliance erupting outward, engulfing the darkness and transforming the haunting howls into soft whispers of encouragement. Finally, with a scream of defiance, the creature imploded, bursting into a cascade of light that scattered into countless tiny stars, illuminating the darkness with a relentless glow. And right there, amidst the brilliance, the young man turned to her, shining with newfound strength. We did it, but what awaited them now? Was their journey complete, or did new shadows lurk just beyond the glow? Hand in hand, they stepped forward, feeling the light warm their souls, and realized this was only the beginning of their truth. The uncertainty vanished as hope filled them, lighting pathways yet to explore, futures entwined. As they ascended from the depths of darkness, the walls that had once confined their spirits crumbled away. They embraced freedom, standing united, ready to face whatever the new day would bring. This was their moment, a chance to share their story, to ignite the fires of truth among others, and bring light to lands shrouded in darkness. They broke into a stride, hearts pounding with excitement and anticipation, empowered by the journey they had embarked on together. And from afar, a voice echoed softly, a reminder, a call to those remaining in shadows. Will you embrace the truth? Will you seek your own light? And deep inside, they sensed that this journey, as raw and challenging as it had been, was merely the dawn of a new awakening for them all. So, here you are, standing on the brink. A brand new chapter awaits. Now, don't let this be just another story you read and forget. You need to subscribe now for more exclusive tales that will inspire and ignite. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help spread these narratives further. Flood the comments section with your thoughts on what comes next, and let your voice be part of our growing community. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this awakening. Your support is vital. Let us illuminate the darkness together.